Yeah.
So, okay, welcome to the Nefty Show. We want to talk about a bunch of different ways that you can that we could plausibly make the Wax DeFi ecosystem much better. The ways to improve it, yada yada. I think most of that's going to come from Juan. He's got a lot of ideas. I have like two, and you guys have heard them before, so that might not be interesting for me, but I'm going to learn a lot, which is fun. Now,
Well, I don't know if I have indeed a lot of ideas, and if I know better than you, but we will talk about that, and I'm pretty sure we will learn.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. We'll learn together.
Yes, we'll learn together. Hey, Max.
And there were some runners up for the conversation today that I think we want to chat about as well.
Yes.
Sort of came up in the last little bit. OpenSea is getting sued by, or they got a Wells notice.
No, yeah, it's they got a Wells notice. They are not being sued. I think that's different.
Yeah, that their NFTs are securities, which is I think
no. I think you're getting it wrong. You're like the press. You're saying, their NFTs are securities. No.
I didn't say they were. I think that's what they're suggesting they were.
Certain projects whose NFTs might be considered securities, and that's different.
Okay.
And not only is different, but can be completely true. When I read that news and I read some comments on social media, I immediately saw, people are saying that the SEC is against artists and art and so on and so forth. And I don't think that's really the case. There are some projects that have used NFTs to fund the development of their projects, and their NFTs are acting as securities. So that might be true for some projects, but not for all of their projects.
Right. Did OpenSea get a Wells notice that some of the things on their platforms are securities?
Yes.
That's what I said. And then you
said
I was wrong.
No. But what you said is that all of their projects were securities, and that's not the case. Some of the projects might be considered securities, and that's the case, I think.
Yeah, it's an important distinction. Yeah, and I think 100%.
It's an important distinction, and especially which NFT projects are considered as security.
No.
When you do, for example, there's an expensive NFT that you where you tokenize the ownership, and 10,000 people buy this $1 million NFT. That is most likely a security.
Yeah, 100%. That's a security. Yes. That's like in the textbook next to this is a security, bros.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. I think it's to some extent bad news, but I think that for some projects they will be right, and they are and their NFTs are unregistered securities.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I wonder too if they're going to ever go after the. It's going to be tougher because of being able to hide your identity in some cases on the internet, but like just the wash trading for tax purposes. Because I have a suspicion that's what a lot of the stuff was with the bakes. Like, hey, I'm going to spend $5 million on this NFT and lose $9 million and get like a permanent freaking taxable my capital gains tax carries forward, right? Like the negative carries forward, so it ends up being a wash.
Yeah, that's also something that might happen indeed, and I don't know. I think that NFTs it's still a very unregulated area, or kind of regulated, but still more similar to the Wild West than to a financial environment.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's it's fun to be on the leading edge and exploring all that stuff. It's gonna get explored. So anyway, the SEC has sent something to OpenSea about something.
And not only to OpenSea, they also targeted Binance with exactly the same thing.
Oh, really?
Because Binance has an NFT marketplace, and
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I think it's part of the same article if you check it out.
Yeah, so I was just mentioning the thing, and then I was going to go look at the article, but apparently I should have read it beforehand before getting it smacked in my face hole. Anyway, so we're we can chat about that. Oh, and I guess and I'll read through that the piece that Finzer put out just so that I can educate myself and not feel so stupid. So, and the other thing we want to chat about today is there's a guy basically pitching an AI to run Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, I think.
We'll have fun disagreeing about that.
Yeah, I have to totally disagree with that being a good idea.
Yeah.
I think, as I've told you several times, for me, AI is a tool, but never the decision maker. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a reticence for at least a generation of humans where it's just unthinkable to have something outside of yourself making decisions. But I think that's going to get normalized faster than
No. I think that you're getting it wrong.
Okay.
AI should be making some kind of decisions, but AI should be making some very simple decisions. But I would never allow AI to decide on matters that threaten the life of a human being. I think that should never happen.
Yeah. See, I think
That
the
should
vast
never ever
majority,
happen.
maybe it's because I live in the States. I know for a fact that 45% of the people in the United States have an IQ less than 4. So like for me, like having a, if I meet half the people out there, I'm sure they're very nice people, but like having them make life or death decisions, they couldn't fucking think their way out of a wet paper bag. So like,
yeah, but
like GPT-2 would be smarter than half of them.
yeah, I think that. Yeah, even then, I think it's not. I think that even if you think that GPT-2 is smarter than a person, AI should not be allowed to make decisions that affect the life or the well-being of another human being.
It's going to take some time. It's going to get proven that that's the only responsible way to do it.
I think it's even how it works right now. All those people with the IQ of 4 that you just mentioned, they are not allowed to make these kind of decisions.
No, but they're allowed to run for office. They're allowed to run for office, and a lot of them get elected. Like dumb as a box of hammers. Like just like holy fucking shit. Are you allowed to speak English in public still? Dumb.
Me?
No, God, no. You're fucking awesome. No. A select subset of the American population.
No. But I mean, it's I think it's something that it's still too early to get there. And in my opinion, we should never get to the point where AI is capable of running a city or making decisions.
Yeah. Well, and again, like that's assuming that super intelligence never happens. Because I think like I believe that AI has to prove itself to the ones of the world, and I'm also very, very confident that it will. It'll take some time. And like when we start to see, it's the side by side, right? Because the article brings up, and we were going to talk about the DeFi stuff first, but fuck it, let's do whatever that.
Yes.
The article brings up as the sort of the counter argument that the Tesla AI cars are proof that you definitely can't do this because there's edge cases that those cars can't handle. Now, for me, I know, and they don't mention this in the article, that the number of safe driving hours for AI cars now vastly exceeds the average American driver, right? So like we know that for a fact, for an actual fact, AI driving cars is safer than people, and AI cars will only get safer and figure out edge cases over and over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, with that part, I agree.
Max. It's pretty much, it's the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
I was a joke. I'm kidding. Come on now.
Come on, no, but for Max, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. But no, and for example, when driving cars, I agree because driving cars is a very mechanic activity, and an activity where you don't have to dive into deep philosophical topics. You don't have to dive into complex society matters. That's a very mechanic activity, and that's perfectly fine to be delegated to AI.
So the life and death, fine. The life and death thing is where you'd have the main issue.
Well, not only the life and death. I think there are many situations that require the good judgment of not only one human being, but the interaction between multiple human beings, and enable a discussion and come up with a decision that is, let's say that socially acceptable, or I don't know exactly what are the words to express that. But for something completely mechanic, I agree, it should be okay. But you have to be very careful with that, because you might want to ask an AI to eradicate the biggest problems on Earth, and the first thing that the AI will eradicate is human beings, because
So
we are the
that's
biggest.
no, that's already been disproven 1,000 times, right? Like
No,
you
no,
can talk.
no. It's
It has been. It has been. This is not debatable.
okay.
Every single time you ask a large language model that, unless you're literally pre-priming it to be the most evil character in the most evil made-up book evilly possible, like large language models as a rote are smart enough to never do that. Like the alignment thing where it's going to turn the entire world into paper clips in an optimization program, it's not true anymore, right? Like that was interesting 5 years ago in AI. That's just not the case anymore. Like not at all.
Okay.
Right. And the other thing is the whole like life and death thing. I like the philosophical thing is interesting, but again, like I would trust asking an AI about philosophy far faster than 90% of Americans. Because again, like half of them don't even know like what the government looks like. Never mind, what Aristotle was, right? Like so they just that whole thing is a very interesting discussion. Again, I think AI has to prove itself. But I was thinking about the they did a study on general practitioner doctors. AI is better than 80% of them already.
Yes.
Better at diagnosing, right? So like it can consume more information and have more information available to process in like a machine learning large language model kind of way. And it's better. And in the same thing, if you're looking at dynamic situation like a city, you're looking at a large amount of data.
But I think that you're looking at that wrong. You're looking at it completely wrong.
Clearly.
And let me tell you why.
All right.
As you know, I come from originally from Guatemala, third world country. What happens when a doctor manages to leave Guatemala and go to the US, manages to go to Germany to practice as a doctor there? What's the first thing that happens?
I don't know.
That he goes beyond most of the doctors that you have in a first world country. Why? Because this guy has been in a hospital with less resources, with really bad conditions, and he had been seeing shitloads of patients, more than the number of patients that any doctor in the developed world has seen in his entire life, maybe in a couple of years. And he starts developing a lot of ways of thinking, a lot of ways of diagnosing that make him very fast, very superior. And that happens also for Indian doctors and most of the doctors that come from third world countries and moved to the developed world.
Yeah.
You might say that AI is doing basically that, getting a lot of cases and doing that. But I would say that AI does not have the power to really learn from that and get breakthroughs that will change medicine and that will take us to the next level.
That's not even a fair statement. So they had this like SETI style program to figure out how to fold proteins, right? Because we could figure out how to fold proteins, we could figure out more drugs, we can do some really cool things, blah blah blah, right? So over 10 years, 30,000 people playing this game, they solved, I think it was 12 proteins. AI solved 5 million. AI solved all of them, all of the possible protein folds, period, all of them in 6 months.
Agreed.
Now, that's just
but
one
there's
example.
only one reason. There's only one reason you can achieve that. Because there's people who has the knowledge and can say, okay, this is the model that we have to develop, and then you train that model and do that. But when you remove people from the equation, there won't be someone
you don't think there's an ability to have. I'm leading you into a trap. I just wanted to let you know this in advance. You don't think there's a way for an AI to come up with a novel question and come up with a novel solution and test that solution and then review whether or not that solution's working?
For some kind of things, yes, but not for
so
everything.
here's the deal. They just launched, like literally last week, an AI scientist beta. This is the first iteration of it. They're going to do way more iterations, obviously. and it's cranking out like a fully peer-reviewed scientific paper every couple hours on 15 minutes of or $15 worth of AI calls, right? So like this is going to happen. Like fundamentally, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen
at some point, but it's not happening now, and it's not ready now. Because if it was ready now,
it's
the
not ready
companies
now. Totally
that have enough money to implement that would have already implemented it instead of having stupid employees that are costing them money instead of making them money. So
I'm not saying this is
wait. If companies who can afford to use AI to be more efficient and to make more money are not doing it, I don't want the government of any country to try it, because then it would be a big failure.
But they're all doing it now. Like Amazon released news like 2 weeks ago in their call that they saved like $280 million dollars worth of coding time.
They
and
are
like
trying, they are experimenting, they are implementing some stuff, but their business is not completely using that. And if you cannot run a business 100% with AI, you should not run a country or a state or a city or whatever with AI yet.
I think that's entirely fair. I think that's entirely fair. So you're saying that when a company is capable of being fully run by AI, then it can handle a city.
Then let's move to something
How long do you think that's going to be?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
I just have no clue, but I think that less than what I think and more than what you think. Because you are too optimistic with AI.
No, honestly, like,
and I am very little optimistic with AI. So
my knee-jerk reaction was like, no, that's not true, but it's totally fucking true. I spend too much time looking at how quickly innovations are coming to not be totally biased, and I really am.
What happens with innovations is that they are very nice, but very difficult to implement in real life immediately.
Quickly. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Unless everything was getting run by AI, and then it'd be really fast.
Yeah, but there's another topic that we that we wanted to talk about today, and that is Soneum.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how to pronounce that. What's Soneum? Soneum? Do you guys know about Soneum? Well,
I found out about it.
Do not know, Soneum is an Ethereum layer 2 that is being developed by Sony. I think that today their testnet went live, and for me this is very, very exciting, having someone like Sony entering the blockchain space. It really shows that blockchain is here to stay, and that it will be part of our everyday life. According to what Sony says about Soneum, what they want to do is close the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. So I think that's pretty interesting.
It really is. Like, you can imagine Sony having like an embedded, just naturally occurring wallet that runs on EVM, on their phones, like on all of them, right? Like that could be completely and totally bonkers, and then attached to their L2 that ends up going out to the rest of the ecosystem. That even on its own, that's nuts.
And think about this. Think about the amount of content that Sony already has, because Sony has a lot of TV series, has movies, has a lot of stuff there. So that amount of content made available through the blockchain, maybe as NFTs or something like that would be amazing. Or giving the possibility to creators to get access to the Sony distribution channels. That could also be game-changing for everybody. I think it's a very, very interesting value proposition.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the IP, and they definitely have a lot of that.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure you love AI. I'm pretty sure Sony is investing heavily in AI, and seeing all of this coming to the blockchain through them, I think that would be an amazing thing. And the best thing is that they are not saying that they will do it. They are already doing it with testnet released, if not today, a couple of days ago or whatever. But their testnet is already there. And during the next month, they are starting their grants program. I think it's called Sparkle or something like that. And they will be funding startups who want to develop on the Soneum blockchain.
Yeah, that's
so that
that's
is
awesome.
really interesting for me.
They're also integrating Circle's USDC stablecoin, Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability, Alchemy's infrastructure and development tools, and the Graph's on-chain data services. So, like, they're going in hard. Like, this is not speculative, right?
Yeah. So just think about this. This is really interesting, and their choice of technology, it's basically an obvious choice because they went for EVM, EVM layer 2. So that means low fees, very cheap fees, and the biggest park of software developers and innovators that can come and start building directly on their chain. So I think it's a very, very good move from Sony at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's definitely bullish for the entire industry, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. And also think about VCs who want to start to fund projects, funding something that will be running in a Sony backed ecosystem. It's also a safer bet than many of the.
It'll definitely feel more comfortable anyway, right? Like just that whole brand recognition thing is going to bring in a lot of capital.
Exactly.
That's a very good point. I'm just looking at this article to kind of catch up to you on the Sonium thing, and the very next article was Ton goes offline for 7 hours amid the dog's airdrop. You're saying dogs pumped, apparently. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know.
Yeah,
apparently it was on Ton.
Well, the thing with dogs is that it's a meme coin, and all the Ton community has been using it to basically to support Pavel, because, that was arrested in Paris, and derived from that, the dog's coin has been pumping in a protest for his arrest.
Oh wow!
But it really went crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, just look at the amount of on-chain data. I mean, they finally. I mean, they talk about stress testing Ton for the first time, like in a big way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's crazy. That's nuts. Yeah. Well, there you go. Just an off topic from TC. What's the cost to post an ad on Nifty's site?
I don't know.
You don't know what the cost to post an ad on your site is?
Nope. But you can go to Nifty Blogs, scroll down, check the FAQ, and the price is there. But I don't know what's the price. I don't pay for my ads, so I don't know how much it costs.
I'm really curious now. All right, so let's find out.
Yeah,
let's find out like everybody else. You see. That's awesome. All right. Man, so much information. Let me see if I can blow this up here a little bit and not be squinting at it. Banners. How much does a banner cost? Booking up to 12 hours, 240 Nifty an hour. More than 24 hours, 170 Nifty an hour. So basically 170 times 24 for a day, whatever that is.
We need to do a show on how to do ads. Yeah, we should do that. Definitely.
I can't disagree with that at all. No. Discounts apply depending on your staking level, up to 35% discount if you're staking level 3. It's got the banner dimension stuff if anyone's curious about it. I mean, the FAQ is actually really good.
Yeah. So for anyone who wants to know, it's part of the FAQ on Nifty Blogs.
There you go. Awesome. All right, there you go. Now we know about that stuff.
We know.
Well, now you know.
Now I've already forgot. Come on, it's so many different prices and different discounts.
And I forget what happened yesterday, so I can't blame you for sure.
Yeah.
That is true. Okay, so the Wax DeFi thing, you brought up the question this morning on how to build a healthier ecosystem for DeFi and Wax. And I feel like we've talked about this in bits and pieces before. And obviously we're trying to do some specific things that we're trying to attack the problems of increasing more demand and blah 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 blah. But I didn't think there was enough new ideas to warrant the show, and you listed off like 3 things that I didn't really think about right off the bat. So in your mind, other than the stuff that we sometimes talk about on the show, could you sort of like maybe go over those things that you started to mention to
me? So. Well, I mentioned several things this morning, but I think that before we get there, think about this.
Okay.
Or let me ask you the question better. What would be the most important for you to consider DeFi really decentralized? What will be the first requirement for that?
To make it for real decentralized. I mean, would you need a DeFi system that nobody controls, or that enough different people control that like different iterations of it, that it sort of balances out to decentralized? Honestly, I've never really thought about it.
Yeah, but and that's why I asked you the question, because I think that most of the people who are participating on DeFi have never asked themselves that question. And I think for me, that's the first important thing, that DeFi should be indeed decentralized, and it shouldn't be possible for one single entity to have control over what is happening there. And
right,
as everything, a protocol can only be as decentralized as the underlying chain is decentralized. Or do you disagree with that?
I definitely don't think I can disagree with that. I remember on what was that chain? I can't remember. Jimmy was in some project back in the day, and way back in the day, like when I first met him, and they moved their project over to Luna. That's what it was. And they're right, and and their token spiked, and of course he'd been earning that token for like fucking 10 years or something, like a really really long time, right? So he had a significant percentage of supply, having earned it, and they they basically asked him to give it back, and he was like, and
I remember that,
right, and they
he was really pissed off, and
they turned his account off. So like, how decentralized is that, right? They just literally went in and turned that account off, and so now that's definitely not Bitcoin, right? So that's pretty nuts. So I guess like to translate it to Wax, it's only as decentralized as basically if every node or block producer decided to make some fundamental change together, they could kind of do it, right? And so like then
what happens if I tell you that you're wrong?
I don't know. You can tell me I'm wrong all the time. So why would I be surprised?
We are many block producers, many other standby block producers. But the keys to the chain, they belong to the Wax team, and the Wax team could override whatever.
Anything.
Decide to do anything. Yeah.
Doesn't
mean that they will do it, but they could do it.
Right.
They have the power to do it. Doesn't mean that they will do it, because I think that it will be very counterproductive for them doing something like that.
Right. Yeah, they're only hurting themselves, but still they have the power to do it.
But still they have the power to do it. So what do you think that represent, or do you think that might have an influence on Wax not having flourishing DeFi ecosystem?
Okay, so would people that have more capital, say, or that want to build things, like automatically not want to build things because Wax is sort of like a centralized single point of failure risk? So I mean, I've never thought about it this way, but I'm not a millionaire in DeFi either, right? So like that's that's not a crazy supposition, I don't think.
But let me get back there. I think they will never do something like that.
Agreed.
And if you think about that, think about, for example, BNB. BNB is very similar, because BNB is a blockchain with 21 producers, 21 active producers also. And basically Binance is the is behind all of that. So I think the difference there is that Binance, for sure, Binance invested a lot of money up front and get everything started on DeFi on BNB, and that's why that DeFi on BNB, it's a big thing. But the same risk is there than the one that we have in Wax and we might have on other chains.
So there's a, if that washes itself out, then it just goes back to capital being the only difference.
Maybe. And then maybe that's the real requirement: capital, not decentralization.
Right. Well, and again, like I think it's probably a mixture of both, right? I mean, like these systems are really only the sum of the people that are looking at them, right? Everybody's going to make slightly different decisions, have slightly different risk tolerance, have slightly different sort of risk allocation, right? Like, are they thinking about decentralization, or are they only thinking about like there's not enough capital, in this space for me to play without ruining it, right? Like that. There's going to be lots of different variables, and I would imagine it's some mixture of all of them for any particular person or entity that's thinking about playing on the field.
Yeah. And this brings me to one of the things that you mentioned, that it's key to having a healthy DeFi environment, which is eyes, people participating here, a healthy amount of people participating in this. And it gets me back to something we discussed with I think it was with Mana. We talked about that. I don't know if it was during the show or after the show or whatever. And we were saying it's important to get users for a mini app. And I bring this up because when I asked this question on Twitter, someone said, okay, what we need is the mini app that Launchbacks is building, exposure to Ton, bring new people from Ton to Wax, and then we will be gaining some traction. Yeah, and
it's
it makes sense.
As if that was like the show accounts AI basically pieced that together from everything we've ever said.
Yeah,
which is a fantastic argument for the record.
Yeah, but let's think about that. And what we were discussing with Mana was we need a lot of people in the mini app. And I think you agreed with that, and I disagreed.
Okay.
Because for me, it's not about bringing people; it's about bringing the right people.
Sure.
Because we need people who's going to invest. We need people who are already traders or who want to learn how to trade.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, learning how to trade in a tiny ecosystem like Wax, and you grow with the ecosystem, I think that's one of the best opportunities to build wealth.
Yeah, I agree.
Play in a field where the competition is not really intensive. Play in a field where with tiny amounts, relatively small amount of money, you can start building up your wealth. I think that's a real advantage. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. I think that the whole getting people or getting the right people. For me, the only way to get the right people is to get tons of people, right? And to have built a thing that has attractive mechanisms for leading to that. I wanted to sort of, ask you, in our referral thing, I don't think our referral mechanism, I don't think we've thought about how do we get specifically the right people from that. You always talk about, I want my mom, I want my aunt, I want like fucking the kid down the street, blah, 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 right? Like we want those numbers. And my whole take on that is you're absolutely right, because those numbers, out of 100,000 people, we have 10,000 that are the right people or whatever, right? So what I was going to ask you, what are the ways that, if you could think of any right now, right, if you want to target the right people, how are we doing it, and how can we do it better?
To be honest, I don't know exactly how to do it, but I know that asking my mom to join, my aunt to join, my cousin to join might be the wrong approach.
It's not. You know why?
Because maybe my cousin, he wants to become a long-term hodler.
Yeah.
Maybe my brother wants to start trading, but maybe, I don't know. And that's the challenge, figuring out who are the right kind of people that we should invite, or having a proper story to attract the wrong people when we are sharing, hey, join us here because what? Because why? Why should you join us? Why should you become part of our tribe? Why should you come to Wax? Why should you come to Launchbacks, to Wax on Edge, to Nifty Blocks? Why should you start using our tools? how can you benefit from that? So I think that's part of what it's we have to do if we want to attract the right people. Have a clear explanation, have a clear message of why they should join this tribe.
How did Monster Combat grow to like over 100 million people or whatever the fuck it is?
They don't care. But what is their goal? That's the thing. What is their goal?
It doesn't matter. They have 100 million people.
It does matter.
Why?
Because it matters.
You could do literally whatever you wanted with 100 million people. You have the right number of people to do basically anything.
No, I don't agree with that. You might get a subset of people that are really into
it's always going to be that. No matter what we do, it's always going to be a subset.
Yes, but I think that when you have limited resources, when you are not the lucky one who did that first or second, then you have to be smarter and you want to be more efficient.
Fair enough. I guess the only other thing I wanted to say about the sort of going wide and not really worrying about it in the beginning, I think it's going to get easier to grow after we have 100,000 people than before, right? Like getting to that point where we have sort of a critical mass that's just a number on Telegram, right? Like that's just and it could be literally anybody, right?
I think you need a little bit of both, because if you want to get partners, you have to have something attractive for them.
For sure.
And a number of daily users or monthly users might be an attractive metric to start partnerships. Right. But I think that if you go to a really that there is where I disagree, because if you go to a serious project, if you go to a serious founder, for him the number of active users will only be a vanity metric. He will want to know more about your community. He will want to know more about what kind of people do you have before partnering with you. For some others, that won't matter. It's just about the number, and that's what they will care about.
I would enjoy having conversations with the first kind of founder. I think the vast majority will be on the other side of the equation. Because again, like it's not like we can't develop the data for some of that stuff and get some really interesting dynamics on that. And I know like Web 2 is very into that, right? Like they've got the ability to search down to micro targeting subsets of people with all the platforms that have been gathering all the information about us for 20 years, whatever the hell it is, right? But yeah, I mean, like I like the idea that again, like all of this is speculative unless we can figure out how to do it, right? Like what's our filter going to be if we want to apply one? And that's kind of where I get caught up, right? If we're going to apply some kind of filter or different kind of attractor that's going to get less people on purpose, but the right people, I think we would want to be really careful what that is. And I don't think we've even remotely defined what the first iteration of that would be.
Yeah, but I think that's an important step, defining.
It's an interesting question.
At least to a certain extent, what kind of users, what kind of players do we want in this ecosystem? Because in the end, what do we want with Launchbags? We want to develop a flourishing DeFi ecosystem on Wax.
Yeah.
We want to bring people who enjoys trading, whether it is meme coins or not meme coins or whatever, but that enjoys trading, enjoys investing, enjoys doing this. And I think there's something else that we're missing, because we are most of the time thinking about people who comes here and they are the customers. We focus most of the time our discussion on how do we bring more people to buy NFTs, to trade on the current exchanges that we have on Wax, to buy IDOs from projects, but we talk too little about how to attract people who wants to build here, who wants to be innovators, who want to launch tokens, who want to create new projects that are doing something different and stuff like that. So that's a very important part of the equation. People who are willing to invest in the ecosystem and bring that liquidity that we are lacking.
Yeah. So Red isn't interesting. So Tap Monsters is almost at 100,000 users, and we're not seeing any surge of new people on Wax. There's no reason to get a Wax wallet on Tap Monster yet, as far as I know. right? So
There's
like
not even a way to connect a cloud wallet or a Wax wallet yet.
There's no connection because they haven't even remotely started trying yet, at least as far as I know, right? Like there's no need for any one of them to get a Wax wallet at all, and I think that will come at some point.
It
And then
will
we'll
come
be
at
able to
some
get
point.
some interesting data on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can connect the
Yes,
Wombat wallet,
exactly.
but again, do you need to right now? Because I don't think you do.
Yeah, but what do you get from doing it? That's my thing. Okay, you connect it, you get some points, but people are not going to the Wax ecosystem. They are not interacting yet with it. So yes, Adrian said lots of wallets were created, and that's very good. But I think that you have to give those wallets something to do on the Wax blockchain if you really want them to become active users. If you only say connect your wallet and that will grant you some points, fine, I'll create my wallet, I'll connect my wallets, I get my points, and I forget about this.
Right? Like what if they airdrop some token from each one of the 3 mobs to all of the accounts that have been attached already? Right? I mean, that's like I think that's going to come, and it could come quickly, which is exactly what she said.
Yeah, and TC mentions advertising, and I think he's completely right. I think that's something that that has to happen. But once again, there has to be something to advertise, something that is interesting for the type of people that we want to come to the blockchain, that we want to come to the platform. And of course, as Corey said, a decent DeFi ecosystem needs no, as Corey says, that one says a thriving DeFi ecosystems needs protocols like oracles, like liquidity pools, like trading platforms, like staking, like lending. Lending, it's something that we don't have on Wax. And people right now on the governance channels are talking about renting NFTs and lending NFTs. When in my opinion, what we really need is to develop the DeFi ecosystem, and that needs token lending, not NFT lending. And we could do it through NFTs because
that's
it's
kind of what I'm wondering,
because our heart is there.
Well, no, but if we could launch a token where if people are renting their NFTs out, they could just trade it in for our token at some sort of set pace, and then technically we've sort of done it just with one step hop.
Yeah, but think about many things. The floor of collections on Wax, it's very difficult to measure. Our NFTs are not only PFPs. For example, the lending protocols out there mostly allow you to lend on. You need what?
Sorry, you'd kind of need you'd need some base value to decide what the token was going to be worth.
You need base value.
You
need the NFTs to be comparable and stuff like that. So doing that with NFTs that are only different because of their mint number and so on, that's very challenging. That's very challenging. Chat to the moon. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
TC, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but is it possible to create an advertisement placement farm? I don't know what that means. He was saying too, like trying to get some way to redirect nifty earnings into advertisement. I'm not sure. I don't know if that would necessarily work. Like if you had enough staked so that you were getting, I don't know, whatever it is, 2,000 a day, which I think that would be fairly difficult to do. Could you just automatically redirect it to always have a banner up?
Well, I think there's something that not many people know, and it's that if you are staking level 3, you can set a default banner, and that banner will show at random times on NFT blocks. So any level 3 collection can do that. The problem that now is that many projects have left, and you see random banners that are very stupid. I think we should force creators to update their banners every 2 weeks if they want those to be considered for the free advertisement, because otherwise they are posting their old banners with irrelevant information.
Yeah, no, that's it. Well, and you could always have them curated a little bit too. Like if they're dumb, you could no. But I mean, that's a good system though. Like as far as having something to have on there in random placements, that's really cool. I like it. I didn't know about that, or maybe I did. There's too many things,
Maybe
man.
you did. I think you did.
I'm pretty sure I did. My brain is just very small, and I fill it up with too much fucking new AI shit that won't do anything for 2 years. So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to touch actually on the because I think we've actually been making a lot of decisions based on, there's a million different ways we can make a Tapper game, right? And we're focusing on branding and thematically making about not only degen stuff, but we really value partners, and so we've set it up in advance to run where we can do co-promoting with partners, whether they be token launches on the platform or partners from anywhere else, right? We've been making a ton of decisions the entire sort of development arc that are far different than are we like a Pokemon trading card fucking family? No, we're not that, right? So there's a bunch of different games that we could have made that we're not making, right? So but it can only be valuable for us to ask that question more, like what exactly is our sort of archetype, or like who how do we get like 1 million reds and TCs to show up 10 minutes from now? Like that would be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that's kind of what we need. That's kind of what we need, indeed.
Cool. All right, well, let's just fucking wave our magic wand and make that shit happen.
Yeah, no, I think the app will be a very good thing. We should bring people, and we are creating the mechanisms to add value. But I think that that's something that we cannot do on our own. There has to be more protocols on Wax. For example, the farms. Just imagine if we had to develop farms from scratch. We might still be developing that instead of creating our mini app. That's something that, thankfully, Mike from WaxDAO already has that, and we can integrate that easily into our platform, and it's there. So that kind of things should happen there. But and there's something I kind of don't like, because I realized some limitations about the farms when we started using them. And of course, Mike is very open to changing and updating things. But when we don't have control over the protocol, it's very difficult to adjust it to meet exactly our needs. So that's something that I don't like about using other people's protocols.
Right.
But I think it's the correct way of doing it, using what it's already there and building on top of that.
Right. I mean, there's reasons to be grateful that we're in an ecosystem that has a lot of the tools already built, right? Like a lot of the systems that we would need before we could even remotely think about doing any of this stuff.
Well, right? I would say it has some of the tools that we need, because I think that not some all, of the essential tools are not there.
Right. Oracle, cough, Oracle.
For example, or things that are more decentralized. For example, if you go to Ethereum and many large EVM chains, you have Aave as a lending protocol. And
I wanted to ask about this. So, like I remember there was a lending platform that came out on EOS, 1 million years ago when we were on EOS, that failed pretty spectacularly and pretty quickly. Right. Because it's not easy to get the math right on it necessarily. Right. So with the Aave platform, like if it's open source or what have you, so have they sort of done the guts of that, where, the sort of the cutoffs or whatever math needs to work to make sure that the lending is actually functional? Yeah. That's kind of what they did.
And you need oracles to liquidate positions. But and the thing is that if you are in an EVM chain, most of those things are already there. You just have to talk with existing protocols and bring them to your chain, which is why I think Sony's move is extremely smart. They are building on top of EVM, so they will be able to benefit from all the developments that already exist, and then they can invest on innovation, on new developments.
Right. So, like, if we had the capacity to run EVM stuff on Wax, we could launch a lending platform that had that as its guts? ?
Yeah, for sure. It will be much easier, much easier. And then it only becomes a game of getting the money. But if you go to the right investors and you pitch the right idea, the investors will come.
Especially,
the problem
and
is
if
when
there's
you have to build from scratch.
right,
It's
tougher.
different.
It's tougher for
It's
sure.
tougher, definitely. Yes.
Well, and then to even have the certainty of saying, like, if you're using some open source software that's just been tested up the wazoo, right, with like hundreds of millions of dollars, I would assume the Aave
And
protocol across
ex-
a bunch of different things, maybe more. Like, I don't know what the numbers are, but
it's
probably a lot.
billions. What goes
Right.
through Aave?
So you think it works?
It's measured in billions. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
it has been audited and so on. So when you are in an ecosystem like ours, you have to build from scratch and invest in something that will only work in a couple of chains that might not have enough volume. So it's very, very challenging, in my opinion. Doesn't mean that it can't be done, but it's
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'd be interesting to see, because I know, like, a lot of, you've brought it up, Manus has brought it up as far as the lending stuff is concerned. I never really got into it, but there's clearly demand for it. Like, it does seem to coincide with DeFi sort of ecosystems that are doing a hell of a lot better than we are.
Well, just think about this. Just think about, for example, one of the other things that I was that I'm missing is having something that is like a reliable store of value. For example, a strong
Manus,
strong token.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, as a strong token like Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDC, USDT have that. Because, for example, just imagine that you have a couple of million worth of Bitcoin and you want to still participate in DeFi with other things. You use your Bitcoin as collateral, or you use your Ethereum as collateral. You lend USDT, USDC, and you can start investing in other protocols that will yield you more than what you are paying in interest in the lending platform. So that's also extremely important in a healthy DeFi ecosystem. And I think that's why what Mana is doing, it's very valuable for the Wax ecosystem. I really want to see that protocol going live as soon as possible, because we will be benefiting from that a lot, in my opinion.
Awesome. So with the USDC USDT thing, like, USDT is still supposed to be kind of leaving in it, like, we've got it like a year before it phases out support for Wax. Is that still the case?
USDT, yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
So there has to be something else coming to Wax, I hope.
I was just wondering if you'd heard anything. So, yeah, apparently
I haven't heard anything yet. I've heard, I think, from Manas that the Wax team is looking for solutions, but I don't know anything official about that. And I think that's really important if we want to make this work.
I wonder if they could just make a bridge and like have a pseudo token for USDT.
Well, that's an option. I think it's not the best option because I think the amount of trust that you get is not the same when you get USDC or USDT coming directly here. USDT has never been on Wax. It's something bridge that Alcor created, and that helped the ecosystem a lot.
Right.
But with EOS removing USD, no, I don't know if EOS removing USDT or the other way around, Tether pulling out of EOS, I think that's the best way to describe it. So So yeah, that's something to think about. But yeah, that's an essential part of a healthy DeFi ecosystem, in my opinion.
All right. Well, Manas, all of the good juju is going your way. Yes. That's a technical stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. TC, what is up? I just saw you message.
I hope TC is creating memes and submitting memes to the meme contest that we have going on. If you haven't submitted your memes, guys, please don't forget to do it before Friday. We will not extend this again. On Friday is the limit for the meme contest. With very nice prizes for you. The first prize will get $150 worth of Woofy.
There you go.
Which is very unfortunate for us because we set the amount on US dollars, and now with WOF dipping, you will get a lot of WOF. So when it goes up again, that will be.
It could be good.
It will be very good.
Awesome sauce.
I'm very confident.
Yeah, this is interesting. So yeah, we'll want to do some kind of advertising on their Tapper people can pay for. So if we have a large number of people, the idea that we can run ads on it, I mean that wouldn't surprise me. We haven't talked a lot about it because step one is to go from 0 to 1 and kind of build the thing. But I can see where that wouldn't be impossible. And then he said you guys should dedicate one show on how to advertise on multiple platforms. So, and I think we could advertise like how to advertise our link. Like if we wanted to advertise on, he's been trying to help projects with advertising. Oh, well, hey, there you go. If by project you mean us. I think that's interesting, right? I mean, like the whole thing is we need more eyeballs, and so figuring out how to get that is something that I mean, we need to
I think
think
that's
constantly about.
really important. And again, I think that when advertising, it's essential to target correctly your ads. Otherwise, you are wasting money.
True. I would imagine you can get better at that all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else you got?
Oh, I don't know. Did we have something else? Do we have something else besides your crazy AI running for governor or something like that?
I think it was only mayor, but someday we can hope.
Yeah, so it's something. Yeah, I think it was mayor. You're right.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, I think one thing, I don't know if we talked about this off air before we got on, but we sort of landed on, if I was going to run for mayor, I would design an AI that would basically, shadow me, right? Like, hey, listen, I have this question. I'm going to pose this question to it. It's going to have a RAG system that knows literally every city ordinance, has all the information it's had in a way that I could never do, constituents, the whole 9 yards, right? Like have the big sort of data machine that a human just couldn't possibly process information as that, and then do it in coordination. If I ever disagree with the AI, I would have to, tell people why, and I would publish everything the AI said or whatever. It might be kind of fun.
Yeah, but I think, that's exactly the problem why you cannot do that. Because just imagine that what I'm requesting is a building permit to build an 80-story skyscraper in the middle of town. And your AI replies yes. Then my investors give the money and I start doing that. But there was a mistake from your AI, which is very likely at this point. And you fucked a lot of investors. You fucked a lot of people.
So this is the thing, the whole mistake.
So that's really bad. I think it's too early for that. Just
maybe, but all I'm saying is like the amount of information that they can process. Humans make that mistake far more than AI today.
Yes. So humans are accountable for what they are doing, and humans go and find a solution. AI does not give a shit if what they said was wrong or right.
Well, you can actually
and some people, even if they are accountable, they don't give a shit just like AI, right? But it doesn't mean that that's the way to proceed.
An AI is not going to take bribes, and everyone in this town will.
I don't know if everyone, but
in my town, a lot of them. Okay. Yeah, people are getting paid. So TC, wish there was a way I could just click send wax and be able to advertise on multiple platforms. I don't know what platforms, like maybe we're talking like Atomic or whatever, right? Like if there's
I think there's a protocol for that, but I don't know if the Wax team is in charge of that right now, because Atomic had the Atomic ads or something like that, and that allowed you to advertise in multiple platforms. But I don't really remember where did those ads were shown, and I don't know who's in charge of that platform now.
All right, that's interesting. We'll have to keep our ear to the ground.
But yeah,
it's good thinking though, TC. That's for sure. Good.
And I think that I think that protocol should be a protocol that it's not run by the Wax team, by the NFT team, by the NFT Hive team, or Atomic team. I think that should be a completely third party, because that will make it very interesting for people to go there, and this party should be able to negotiate with all the platforms on Wax.
Like the Wax ad agency
there.
I
think that would be very nice, but shouldn't be part of one of these protocols.
Yeah, somebody should build that shit and make money from it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like charge 5% to get your ads in all of the places automatically. If anybody was advertising, that if there was demand anyway, that would definitely be convenient.
Yeah,
All right,
I think
well,
that's a very nice thing. And maybe it doesn't have to be built from scratch. Maybe it's only finding out what happened with this initial platform and then just expanding it to cover all the current platforms on Wax and having a centralized place to manage ads. That could be very interesting.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah,
that could be fun. I mean, shit, like having the ads also, have the nifty Twitter stream, right? Like,
yeah. Even for the Nifty show, we could start advertising it on different platforms. Yeah,
it's true.
It could be very interesting.
Both ways.
Very, very interesting.
We could swing both ways, Juan.
Yeah, but we cannot take care of so many platforms, because if you want to do one successful platform, you have to focus on that platform. You can't be doing 10 things at the same time.
Amen.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't write code anymore, because if I write code, I should be dedicated full time to writing code. If I want to do this, I should be doing this. So now I'm doing the Nifty show, I'm doing the Tapper launchback, so that's my focus. And Nifty blocks, because who's checking what's going on there and so on, because we only have bandwidth to do a limited number of things.
Can confirm. I've been struggling with that of late for sure. Speaking of which, I'm gonna take off now because I have to go to the bathroom again. I should probably drink less coffee before doing the shows. Pounding water like crazy.
Come on, Corey. Okay.
I know. Okay. So let me rephrase that, because I can tough it out if we need to. Is there anything else we should cover today that people need to know about?
No, I think that we covered most of what we wanted to talk about, and yeah, I think that's it for today.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and thanks for coming. Like, you came up with most of the ideas for the show today. I would just want to thank you for that. I was dealing with computer issues all morning, and I literally just wanted to freaking punch everything that had a computer in it for this morning. But so thank you for that, because that ended up being tons of really cool shit to talk about. So that was fun. All right, cool beans. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same bad place, same bad time. Yeah, we got some more, a couple more guests for next week. Russell's going to be coming on, and Dennis from AI.Gov is going to be coming on for a big.
Oh, and were you able to reach out to Josh?
To who now? Oh yeah,
Josh,
I did. Did he?
Yeah.
Has not responded yet.
Yeah, it would be cool to have him back on the show and see what's going on with his game. And chat to the moon.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
Oh,
let's go.
Okay, cool beans. All right, chaps. Boink, boink, boink. The thumb. Oh shit! There we go. Nailed it.